Hey, in case you've forgotten, my name is Dylan, and I'm the venturing lead for the Montana Council's Screen Boosted Scouting Initiative. This video is the second of a two-part series called How and Why to Be Enthusiastic About Meeting Virtually. If you haven't seen the first video, please be sure to go back to the SBS page, scroll down to the venturing section, and you'll find that first video. But for those of you who have seen the first video, welcome back! In this second part, we will be covering short and long-term planning so that we can ensure that our goals and our overall vision is more realistic, attainable, and timely given our set of circumstances in the world today. In this video, I'll be covering 4 topics in particular. What are SMART goals? How do you ensure that your goals are SMART, and why are they important? The importance of reorienting the group and how you can do so, short-term planning, and last but not least, long-term planning. Starting with SMART goals. In case you're unfamiliar, SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. By making a goal a SMART goal, you are going to make it stronger because it meets each of these 5 criteria, each letter of SMART. And to demonstrate the benefits of SMART goals, I'm going to guide you through the process of taking an excellent idea and turning it into something that is better and stronger because it is SMART. Let's say that your crew at your last meeting was having a casual conversation, and someone reminisced about how they ate cookies earlier that afternoon. Because of that, everybody in the group agreed that they would like to bake cookies as a future activity. This is a fantastic idea, but there are things that we can do to develop this further and make it SMART. Starting with specific. Our goal is already pretty specific. We would like to bake cookies. It's important when making a goal that it's not too broad of scope and that you have a very particular focus. In this case, we would like to bake cookies. Moving on to measurable. Although we would like to bake cookies, which is plural, so more than one cookie, we don't know exactly how many we would like to bake. It's important to know how many cookies we'd like to bake because that will help us determine when we've achieved our goal. So someone in the group suggests that we bake 10,000 cookies. However, someone retorts and says that that isn't very feasible for the group. The group only has access to a couple of ovens and a few cookie trays, and so it would take a very long time and an immense amount of effort to bake those 10,000 cookies. So they suggest that the group instead commits to baking 100 cookies. Relevant. Although it's really fun to bake anything, especially cookies, and to eat cookies, there is a way that we can make this relevant to our needs, not just our wants. Someone in the group mentions that the crew has been in desperate need of new backpacking tents. Particularly, the group needs 5. So, they suggest the crew turns this baking activity into a fundraising activity, and that they sell the cookies and the proceeds go towards their balance so that they can purchase the 5 tents that they need. And finally, timely. Although this is a pretty great goal so far, if we don't put a timeline on this, we might not achieve it for another year or 2, or we might not achieve it ever. So someone suggests a timeline where we bake the cookies and have the bake sale within the next 7 days. So as you can see, we took that initial desire to bake cookies and we turned it into something really fantastic. We would like to bake 100 cookies as a means of raising funds for 5 new backpacking tents, and we will accomplish all of the aforementioned within the next 7 days. Ensuring that our goals are SMART will prove to be very useful with that short and long-term planning. So pocket this concept for now, as we'll come back to it later. Reorienting the group, or in other words, how to get moving or how to move faster. As we determined our trajectory and what we would like to do in the short term and the long term, it's important that we either reorient ourselves or determine where we would like to go. And so there are 3 questions that every individual and group should ask themselves. Where am I now? Where do I want to be? And how do I get to where I want to be? This is an A to B timeline, which is just a vision. These 3 questions will help you determine your A, your B, and how you're going to get from A to B. And because of that, you will come up with a vision. This is an activity that I suggest for individuals to do, but also for an entire group to do together. Why are you in scouting? Where are you now? Where do you want to be in scouting? And how do you get to where you want to be in scouting? And you can use these 3 questions for a number of other situations. But as the crew is determining what they'd like to do in the short term and the long term, knowing what your vision is going to help tremendously. And to lead yourself and others effectively, it's important to know the answers to these questions, because this will help guide you on the right path. And so whether you know what your vision is as an individual and as a group or not, this is going to be critical to your future success. So what can you do now to reorient the group by coming up with your vision so you can get moving? Or what can you do to reorient the group to get back on track to achieving your vision and to move faster, or to at least maintain your momentum? Moving on to short term. These are the smaller items and what's right around the corner. So things that immediately come to mind for me are meetings, district or other unit activities, and planning or recommitting the group to its plans. These are the small things that you're going to want to determine within the next month or 2, or even the next couple of weeks, so that you can make sure the group is on track. What are you doing for meetings? As part of the SBS July content for venturing, there will be a fun meetings idea video published. But what other ideas have you come up with? Additionally, are other units in your area or even your district doing anything that you might want to participate in? If so, you should get right on that and see what you need to do to be part of those activities too. And of course, as we had just discussed with reorienting ourselves, what are we doing to plan or recommit the group to its plans? Remember, breaks are good, but make sure you create solid plans for your return. So whether or not you or your group are ready to discuss weekly or bi-weekly meetings, other unit activities or district activities, or making future plans or recommitting the group to its plans because you're taking a break, make sure you have something for once you return. Make sure you have something so you can get right back on track. And finally, the long term. These are the bigger items and things like your annual calendar. So you might be thinking about your vision. That's what future success looks like. Refer back to those 3 questions and your answers to those 3 questions, not only individually but as a group, to help you determine what your vision is. This is going to help you in the long run, determining what your activities are going to be, not only now, but down the road as well. And speaking of that, maybe in the long term you would like to have Tier 2 and Tier 3 adventures. You may have been anticipating a week-long backpacking trip this summer, but because of current circumstances, you are unable to do so. So what can you do now to plan for that upcoming activity that'll occur later down the road? If you don't put the time and effort in now to plan for that week-long backpacking trip, it's going to be really difficult to do that on short notice. And remember, it's a team effort. So what is the team doing to make the necessary contacts, to brainstorm the ideas, and more? It's really great to see a crew that has ideas for their weekly meetings and even their activities, their adventures for any given weekend. But what is the group hoping to accomplish within the next 6 months or maybe even year? And what can you and others in your crew do to help bring those things to fruition? It might not be feasible to go on that week-long backpacking trip now, but you can possibly do so later. So let's put the time in now so that it is possible for us. And as I said before on the previous slide, it's great and super important to take breaks, but make sure you're doing things in the background or you have enough prepared so that once you return, you can get moving right again. And remember, don't let COVID or other obstacles demotivate you or prevent you from making plans. It's a valuable experience either way, whether or not you actually get to bring those plans to fruition. So don't be demotivated because you can't have that week-long backpacking trip, or because you don't know if you'll be able to actually have it or not. Whether or not you get to actually have the experience does not mean that you lose the experiences from actually planning the activity. So keep leading the adventure, keep having an optimistic outlook on our given set of circumstances, and keep that momentum going. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that the content within has given you the additional support and encouragement that you need to ensure that your goals and your overall vision, not only in the short term but the long term as well, are even more realistic, attainable, and timely. Be sure to check the SBS page frequently to see what content is posted to help you and your unit continue to lead the adventure each and every day. And with all that being said, thank you once again for watching, and have a gorgeous Montana day.